For the very first time in the history of Euro Truck Simulator 2, we finally have official coaches. Not mods, not community creations, but an officially developed Coaches DLC from SCS Software. Think about that for a second. This is one of the biggest milestones the game has seen since it first launched back in 2012. For well over a decade, ETS2 has been all about trucks, trailers, logistics, and cargo deliveries. Now, the very same game is expanding into something completely new. You'll still be playing Euro Truck Simulator 2, but now you'll also be able to drive coaches. That is a huge moment for this franchise. We've been hearing rumors, seeing teasers, and spotting little hints over the past couple of years. There were bus stations being updated, UI changes that didn't quite make sense at the time, and even hidden files suggesting that passenger transport was being worked on. Now, after all those years of speculation, we're finally looking at the very first official gameplay preview, and honestly, it looks exciting. What impressed me the most is that SCS didn't simply take a truck and replace the trailer with a bus model. They actually thought about how a coach should feel. The interface changes, the passenger systems, the destination displays, the boarding process, the driving experience. Everything seems designed around transporting people instead of cargo. That's exactly what many of us were hoping for. Because the biggest fear in the community was that coaches would simply feel like driving a truck without a trailer. Thankfully, that doesn't appear to be the case. When I watched the gameplay preview, I couldn't stop thinking about how far ETS2 has come. Back in 2012, nobody imagined we'd reach this point. The game started with a relatively small map, a handful of trucks, and basic delivery jobs. Fast forward to today. The map covers most of Europe. We have countless truck brands, massive DLC expansions, driving academy, dynamic systems, a completely modernized user interface, and now, passenger transport. If someone had told me back in 2012 that one day we'd be driving both trucks and coaches inside the same game, I probably wouldn't have believed them. What's really interesting is that this doesn't replace trucking. Instead, it adds another completely different way to play. Some days you'll feel like hauling a heavy cargo across Europe. Other days, you might just want to transport passengers from one city to another while enjoying the scenery. That kind of variety is going to keep the game feeling fresh for years, instead of buying another simulator whenever you want to drive a bus. You'll simply launch ETS2, choose whether you want a truck or a coach. That's a very smart direction from SCS Software. And let's be honest, SCS has already dominated the trucking simulation genre for years. Euro Truck Simulator 2 and American Truck Simulator have become the benchmark for truck simulators. Now it almost feels like they're stepping into another category altogether. The bus and coach simulation market, that's a bold move. But after watching the gameplay, I honestly think they have a very good chance of succeeding. When you compare what we've seen so far to other coach simulators, the map is massive, the roads are already there, the cities are there, the mountain passes, the motorways, the villages, the weather, the traffic, everything already exists. All SCS had to do was create a completely new gameplay experience that fits naturally into this world. That's something many dedicated bus games simply can't match. I actually feel a little sorry for games like Fernbus Simulator, The Bus, and even Bus Simulator. Those games were built entirely around buses, but ETS2 already has something incredibly valuable. A huge open-world map that millions of players already love exploring. Imagine taking a long-distance passenger route through Germany, driving across the Alps, heading into Italy, crossing France, or traveling through Scandinavia. That's something people have wanted for years, and now it's finally becoming reality. From what we've seen in the gameplay preview, the system looks clean, simple, and easy to understand. You accept a passenger job, drive to your destination, follow the road rules, avoid dangerous driving, make smooth turns, brake carefully, respect speed limits, and your passengers stay happy. It's actually very realistic, because that's exactly what matters in real coach operations. Passengers don't care how fast you arrive if the journey is uncomfortable. They want a smooth ride, safe driving, comfort, professionalism. So instead of focusing purely on speed, you're also thinking about the experience inside the coach. I really like that approach. The user interface also deserves some praise. It's clear, easy to read, nothing feels overly complicated. You always know your route, your destination, your passenger status. Everything appears organized in a way that doesn't distract you while driving. That's one thing SCS has become very good at over the years. They've learned how to present information without overwhelming the player. Now, this is only the first gameplay preview, and because of that, I don't think we've seen everything yet. In fact, I think this is only the beginning. Personally, I expect several more gameplay previews before release. There are still coaches we haven't properly seen in action. I'm especially looking forward to the Scania Touring. That's one of the most requested coaches in the community. And then there's the Volvo 9700 double-decker. Imagine driving that across Europe. I think SCS is saving those showcases for future videos. Each gameplay preview will probably focus on different routes, different features, and different coaches. That would keep the excitement building all the way to launch. Unfortunately, SCS hasn't announced a specific release date yet, but I do think we can learn something from their usual development pattern. SCS normally doesn't start publishing full gameplay previews if a project is still many months away. Gameplay videos usually appear during the final stages of development. That's when the content is stable enough to show publicly. That's when the developers become more confident, and that's when marketing really begins. We're now entering that phase. The cycle has started. We actually saw something very similar with the ATS road trip project. It feels like Coach's DLC is following a very similar path. That's why I'm becoming increasingly confident that the wait won't be much longer. I'm not going to predict an exact date because SCS can always change their plans. But based on what we're seeing, I genuinely believe the release is getting close, much closer than it was a few months ago. I also think this DLC is bigger than just adding buses. It opens the door to future possibilities, new coach brands, additional passenger features, more routes, different service types, maybe even VIP services. One update at a time, one expansion after another. I wouldn't be surprised if coaches follow that same journey overall. I came away from this first gameplay preview genuinely impressed, not because it's flashy, not because it's revolutionary, but because it feels like a natural evolution of Euro Truck Simulator 2. It respects everything that made ETS2 successful while introducing an entirely new way to experience the game. For players who have spent thousands of hours driving trucks, this could make the game feel fresh all over again. And for people who have always wanted a high-quality coach simulator, this might end up being exactly what they've been waiting for. It's still early, and there are plenty of features we haven't seen yet. But if this first gameplay preview is anything to go by, the future of ETS2 looks incredibly exciting. Now I'd like to hear your thoughts. Are you planning to spend more time driving trucks? Or will you switch over to coaches once the DLC releases? And which coach are you most excited to drive first? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.